So there's just a lag before we go live. She's going to let us know.
We're all set.
Wonderful. Well,
That's Michael.
Yes.
Hi.
Hi. Good to see
I didn't
you.
recognize you from that angle.
Yes. I have not worked out how the best way to get my camera going. So this is the best I can do right now. Usually it's just a big M on the screen.
Nice to see you, sir.
Yes. Good to see you again. Thank you.
Okay, we're live, and I am pleased to begin what is the closing event for the Conference in African American and African Diasporic Cultures and Experiences here at UNCG in 2021, the Year of the Black Woman. This has been an exceptionally challenging year, and one of the things that we decided in planning this conference was to think of a way to honor our students and to think about future plans and ways of moving forward with new generations of scholars. This event is the announcement of AADS Student Awards for Research and Creative Activity. We have here with us Dean John Kiss of the College of Arts and Sciences to give opening remarks. And it's my pleasure to introduce Dean Kiss as Program Director of AADS. John Kiss is the Dean of the College of Arts and Sciences at UNC Greensboro and a professor of biology. He is a strong supporter of AADS and continues to vigorously advocate for greater diversity in the College of Arts and Sciences. Dean Kiss is a space biologist who has devoted more than 25 years of his career to what happens to plants in space. His research specifically focuses on plant physiology and how plants respond to environmental cues. He has served as a PI on grants from NASA, USDA, NSF, and the NIH for a career total of $6 million, as well as PI on 8 spaceflight experiments on the Space Shuttle and the International Space Station. In 2014, he received the NASA Outstanding Public Leadership Medal for exceptional contributions in spaceflight research in the fundamental biology of plants in support of NASA's exploration mission. A versatile scholar and leader and the recipient of many awards, Dean Kiss has been honored recently by having an asteroid named after him, the Kiss asteroid. Dean Kiss, we are grateful for your words tonight.
Thank you very much, Noelle, for that very kind introduction. It's a real pleasure to be here at the conference and with AADS. I always enjoy the events, and I always feel such a warm welcome from the group, which I appreciate. And I wish we were in person, but here we are on Zoom, and hopefully we'll be in person soon. I think the conference this year, I was looking over the program, is actually very exciting and very relevant. And if we take a step back, I think we kind of had a bad year in a lot of ways the past year, a lot of terrible events in the racial climate of our country, which I think is, very painful to us, and it's painful to me. But, in your program, you have the Vice President of the United States on the cover, and that's something really cool and historic. So I think, there's some hope there. And I think AADS is a very interesting interdisciplinary program. I think particularly now with our national climate that I referred to, I think AADS could really inform us in the college and in the university community. So it's really nice to be here. This CASE conference is always a very exciting annual event, and it's a great opportunity for students, faculty, the community in Greensboro and beyond to come together to look at new partnerships centered on Black experiences. I think this closing event is devoted to the faculty in AADS in its earliest forms of existence at UNC Greensboro. First, a few course offerings in 1986, a concentration in 1989, certification as a program in 1992. So some of the key contributors are Dr. Angela Rhone, Dr. Frank Woods, Mr. Michael Coffin, and the late Logiemicha, and they're key contributors, and we thank them. Again, the theme, the Year of the Black Woman, is very relevant. I'm told 60% of our majors are Black women, and we look forward to hearing all the exciting careers that they're going to have in the future in law, politics, and other very important civically engaged activities. I want to thank Ms. Annelle Johnson, who donated funds for the CASE conference this year. I know Annelle very well, and we appreciate her support for the College of Arts and Sciences, but in particular this year for the program, which I think she felt was a very important and timely year. And, you know, the planning committee, which people are here on this virtual stage, Michael Coffin, Armando Collins, Haywan Gurma, Kalia Carter, and of course, Noelle Morissette. So thank you for all your contributions. Thank you for leading us in dialogue at this important time in our university and nation. And I'm excited to hear about the award winners. So I'll hand it back to you, Noelle.
Thank you so much, Dean Kiss, for your words. So I think we'll start with our award announcements. Let's see, Dr. Armando Collins. Let's see if he's here.
Oh, he's on mute.
Oh, you're muted, Armando.
I'm muted. Okay, I'm unmuted. Zoom. I'm sorry, you guys. Zoom life. Professor Lorenzo Logiemicha was a blues musician, storyteller, UNCG alumnus, community leader, and former instructor here in AADS. He was also my friend. He was a native of Greensboro, and he helped start the Piedmont Blues Preservation Society, and was also a recipient of one of its highest awards, the Keeping Blues Alive Award. In his lifetime, Logie demonstrated being a performer of Black culture, a preserver, a curator of it. And it's demonstrated over and over in his life in the honors he received while he was here and the ones that he keeps piling up post his life. He also received in his lifetime an O. Henry Lifetime Achievement Award for his writing. It was because of his commitment and dedication to writing about life in the Triad. In his life, Logie traveled the world playing blues and instructing students of all ages in music and musicality based on the African-American folk tradition that he learned from his own experience. Now, Logie is remembered as a generous collaborator to our UNCG intellectual community, and he was a wise leader in the larger Greensboro and Triad community. And he was a captivating musician and storyteller. But if he is to be remembered and remembered respectfully, he has to be remembered as Frank Woods, his dear friend, remembered it. One of the consummate blues musicians of his era and age, unrecognized, but honored nonetheless. In one of his last acts of teaching and keeping blues alive, I got a chance to travel with Logie to Coppin State, where his mission was to instruct a young actor in how to be a blues guitarist. And his mission, his purpose for going was that Logie said, I got to touch him on it. Logie's brand of pedagogy, he called it Gotagogy. And he said, in order to actually teach African-American culture, you have to teach it in the form that it's given. It's dynamic, it's live. And the kid could already play the guitar and the kid could already act, but the kid needed to understand what life is like for a blues musician. And he needed personal one-on-one instruction on how different iterations of this play had been performed. And that's what only Logie could do for being a person who spent 40 years of his life doing just that across the country. Well, the spirit of that interaction is why we are honoring Logie with this award, and why we hope to honor other people with this award in his memory. Logie used to jokingly say, but I think it is most appropriate, he used to call himself an American national treasure. And I think that that's what this award signifies him as, but it's also designed to inspire that in somebody else. Inspire them to be their own version of an American national treasure. The Lorenzo Logiemicha Award for Performance is intended for an AADS student who has produced a scholarly work, performance, or educational performance dedicated to African-American performativity traditions, such as the blues, other musical forms, storytelling, or other expressive performative arts, as they are a part of the African-American cultural tradition. Any student interested in applying for the award should contact the department with documentation of their activities as a sound recording, film or video clip, or writing, and we will get back to you, and hopefully you win the award. I'll pass it back to you, Noel.
I love that. Tell me again the pedagogy.
Gotagogy.
Gotagogy.
Logie was notorious for kidnapping students and taking them on unsanctioned field trips that him and the provost would have to talk about when he got back.
I love it. I love that man. Yes, so at AADS, we love the soul of Logie Meacham, which still lurks in the halls of AADS, even though it's moved from the now gone McKeever to Curry Building. Thank you for that, Dr. Collins. So we'll move on to the Frank Woods Award for Creative Excellence, which will be presented by Dr. Rhonda Jones. Don't forget to unmute.
Thank you, Noel. The N. Frank Woods Award for Creative Excellence is dedicated to Mr. Woods, who was a longtime director of the African American Studies at UNCG Visual Art and Art Historian Department. Frank Woods has an MFA from UNCG and was instrumental in developing curriculum, leading the program and teaching thousands of undergraduate students in AADS and across the university for a span of over 30 years until he retired in 2020. A painter and a sculptor with a doctorate in art history, Dr. Woods has written 4 scholarly studies of African American visual culture and history, and has also produced 4 textbooks on African American experience: the African American pioneers in film, art, and music, the visual history of African Americans and African Americans just culturally overall. Dr. Woods has mounted more than 30 exhibits of his own artwork. Many of them were juried. His students described his experience as him mounting more than 30 exhibits of his artwork and learning from Dr. Woods in courses he devised for AADS, such as the transformative moments of African American art history, portrayal of African Americans in film, and Black music as cultural history. A scholar of creative legacy of African American artists and souls, and a practitioner of artistic expression himself, Dr. Woods is honored for his advancement of creative excellence and for advancing the awareness of African American creative legacies. This award is intended also for an AADS student who has produced either scholarly or creative work pertaining to visual arts, Black popular culture, and African American experience. Students should present any documentation in terms of blogs or films or JPEGs or audio to the department that expresses in an appropriate form their creativity. Dr. Woods should be remembered fondly for his work and his contribution and his dedication to AADS and the department and his students, and just his contribution to the documentation and preservation of African American life, history, and cultural expression overall. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Dr. Jones. And coming from you, that is a very powerful statement. So I did want to announce that Frank has a forthcoming book, Race and Racism in 19th Century Art, The Ascendancy of Robert Duncanson, Edward Bannister, and Edmonia Lewis. It's coming from University of Mississippi Press. So even though he is retired, he is still doing his thing. He might even have more time to, talk about funk and do all the things that he does. So when we say creative excellence, Frank is our man. So we will move on to our next award, and that is the Michael Coffin Award for Understanding Race, which Dr. Cerise Glenn is going to announce.
Good evening, everyone. It's my pleasure to introduce the Michael Coffin Award, and I hope you don't mind me reading a bit, but I want to make sure I get all the details correct, especially since he's also here right now. So Michael Coffin is a senior lecturer in African American and African Diaspora Studies. He is currently the longest serving member of the program, having joined the faculty in 1996. So I'm going to say that part again, 1996. He's been with us for quite some time. He has taught thousands of students over the past 25 years. He's participated in the certification of African American Studies as a major in the College of Arts and Sciences. And for some of you who are younger, and I mean younger like me, not just student young, that we got here and assumed it was a major. We got the privilege of being here as a program. Professor Coffin is one of the people that made that happen. So, and I often say in class that we stand on the shoulders of people who come before us. These are the shoulders that you're standing on. He's also served as a member of the Scholarship Award Committee in AADS since its founding. He's an active scholar. He served as the president of the South Atlantic Philosophers of Education Society, the area coordinator of the National Association of African American Studies, and is a co-author of the Student Athletes College Recruitment Guide and other essays. I've known Mike for over 10 years while serving as an affiliate faculty member and also as a program director at AADS. He continues to impress me with his contribution to diversity and inclusion and commitment to excellence. The classes he teaches includes Introduction to African American Studies, Blacks in American Society, Social, Economic, and Political Perspectives, and Theories and Paradigms of African American Society. He's one who does a lot of work in front of the classroom, but also works tirelessly behind the scenes. Part of that is going through the process of recertifying our gen ed classes. which when I was charged with doing that, had no clue how to do it. So something that Professor Coffin and I had to figure out. He also continues to impress me by the way that he has his commitment to African-American legacies. Even though he's been here for so long, his classes always feel fresh. I've had the privilege of observing him, and I'm always amazed by the interaction he has with his students. He also supervises the AADS Student Club and has been highly active in our programming. He's co-chaired the case committee. He's also presented our conversation with the community series. And oftentimes, Dr. Morissette and Dean Kiss will probably tell you that when you're in an administrative role, you often work really, really late hours. There's been days I stayed till 7 o'clock at night and Professor Kaufman is still there talking to students. So that commitment is just something that you just don't see every day. And he continues to amaze me with that. So it's with my great pleasure I announce the qualifications of this award. The award is for a student for understanding race who has produced a scholarly work or delivered a conference paper addressing the topic of race and racial formation through history or the social sciences. Students should submit documentation of their writing on race or racial formations to African American and or African American Diaspora Studies program.
Wonderful. Yes, there's more to come. But that's all for now with those. And our final award that we're announcing is for one of the earliest developers of African American and African diaspora studies as it first existed at UNC Greensboro in the form of those two classes, the classes that we still teach, Introduction to African American Studies and Blacks in American Society. And that is Dr. Angela Rhone. So I will turn the introductions over to Dr. Aisha Boyce.
Good evening. Dr. Angela Rhone, Professor of Teacher Education at Florida Atlantic University, is a highly motivated and accomplished teaching professional with more than 20 years of exemplary experience. She earned her doctorate in education from UNCG's Teaching and Curriculum program. In 1989, she developed and taught 2 foundational courses in African American Studies, which we still teach today: Introduction to African American Studies and Blacks in American Society. At Florida Atlantic University, she teaches Applied Learning Theory. She has been awarded the School of Education's Distinguished Teaching Award multiple times, as well as the Broward Faculty Member of the Year Award. Her current research focus examines factors that affect how first-generation, foreign-born, Haitian, and Jamaican adolescents navigate the K-12 system. A lifelong advocate of continued learning and advancement, Dr. Rhone's early contribution to the curriculum of what is now the program in African American and African diasporic culture and experiences at UNCG is regarded as a cornerstone of who we are today. Dr. Rhone's gift for advancing the love of learning in others is coupled with her own zest for knowledge. The Angela Rhone Award for Education and Social Justice is intended for an AADS student who has been active in education, community service, and outreach, and or social justice activity on campus or in the Greensboro community. Students should submit documentation of their activities such as sound recording, film, video clip, writing or education, social justice, and or community outreach.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Dr. Boyce. And Angela wanted to be here tonight, but she was having some connectivity issues, as we're all familiar with. So this is the point at which I would like to give thanks. This past year has been one of many challenges, and we at AADS wanted to be sure that we devoted time and space to the important conversations themed to the Year of the Black Woman that our panelists have initiated over the last 2 days. This is only the beginning of these conversations. We also wanted to be sure to honor our students in AADS at UNC Greensboro who do such good work, scholarly and creative, community engaged, and wielding the power of words for social activism. And we wanted to honor the way in which these conversations began. The people after whom these awards were named represent more than just names. They are the hearts and minds of AADS, devoted educators, artists, authors, and community and communal-minded individuals whom we know as colleagues and friends. These awards have been announced by the vanguard of these scholars and librarians also, Dr. Armando Collins, Dr. Cerise Glenn, Dr. Rhonda Jones, and Dr. Aisha Boyce. And in addition, I need to thank the committee that has helped make this conference come together. I can tell you that working through Zoom and organizing all of these things, we must have done and redone this conference 3 times before we got it just right. So the first person I would like to thank is Miss Kalia Carter for all of her hard work and devotion above and beyond, right? Kalia is the future, right? Kalia is an alumna of AADS. She is innovative and passionate about her current position. And I give great thanks for every day that I get to work with her. I'd also like to thank the case committee, which is composed of Ms. Kalia Carter, also Dr. Hewan Gurma, Dr. Armando Collins, and of course, Mr. Michael Coffin, who has been on this committee every year since the conference's inception, right? That's saying something. Thanks also to the many supporters and participants who made our 2021 conference, the Year of the Black Woman, a success. We celebrate our founders in AADS, Dr. Rhone, Dr. Woods, Mr. Coffin, and the late Mr. Meacham. May his soul rest. We celebrate our current faculty and affiliates, and we look forward to the new generations of scholars that we are creating, right? These will be, or some of these will be the recipients of these awards. We remember where we have come from and from whom we have learned as we make the world anew. And I would like to close this event by acknowledging a special person in AADS. And Dr. Glenn's presentation should give you a clue of who that person is. Mr. Michael Coffin, who, as Dr. Glenn has described, as a devoted educator, someone working behind the scenes as well as in the classroom, a tremendous amount of contact hours with our students over many years. How many? 25 years of service at UNC Greensboro. Michael has served on the Case Conference Planning Committee for every year since 1996. These advisory positions that Dr. Glenn has described to you with the African American Studies Student Club and other activities this year with us advising, right? All of these demonstrate to me someone who is an engaged teacher and a devoted educator, right? As you have learned from the award named in his honor, Mr. Coffin has been part of many of the significant developments that created the program in AADS as it exists today. So it is on behalf of UNC Greensboro's program in African American and African Diaspora Studies to present this plaque to Mr. Michael Coffin, Senior Lecturer in AADS, with gratitude from your students and colleagues for 25 years of teaching and service. May our conversations continue. And I don't know if Michael, you would feel so moved to have any remarks?
Yes, I'd like to thank you and thank Cerise for the kind tribute to me and your kind words and acknowledgments, and also Dean Kiss and others. And you slipped this last one in on me because I just happened to see at the end of the program, I was looking through all the programs, all the sessions, and I saw that at the very end. You caught me off guard. So I am really overcome with appreciation and joy. And by the way, my mother's sitting here with me. My 83-year-old mother is in the room. So I'm really especially glad that she has been able to be around when this tribute was given to me. It is a very, very special time for me, and I really do appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you all. We're nothing without each other. And I think that we're moving forward. And even though there is much that is uncertain, we know what it is that we would like to build together. So I am very grateful to all of you. And I wish you all good night. Take good care, everyone. Okay.
Thank you.